So we just lost 3-1 to Accrington Stanley, but I don't care. Here are my League One predictions. But first off, I just want to say I want to keep this somewhat short because I want it to be easy to edit. And also, massive thank you for the support in the last few prediction videos because they really blew up. And I thank you for that support.
24th, Port Vale.
So, obviously, I do see Port Vale going back down. I do not think they are good enough for League One. And I'd say, on terms on size, I do think they are a upper League Two team. And personally, they've been in and out of the League One recently, but I feel like they'll go right back out of it this season. But I'm going to say it now, Port Vale will be the only team to go straight back down.
23rd, Burton.
So, slate me all you want, I do not see Burton surviving. I personally think, similarly to Port Vale, they're not good enough. And, of course, recently they've been somewhat successful. They had a double promotion from League Two to the Championship. And I do believe they went down first season, I believe. But, again, they held their own in League One. And I just don't really see them surviving this season. And I believe they will join Burton in League Two next season.
22nd, Wigan.
Here is another bold prediction. Wigan. I believe Wigan will go down this season. I believe they did have some financial struggles recently, but I believe that they've held their own, but I don't really see them staying up. I feel like they have been on a bit of a slippery slope for years now, and I feel like they will go down this season.
21st, Mansfield.
So now, Mansfield, they survived last year, but I feel like there's too much quality in League One for them to stay up, and I feel like they will go back down, but I feel like they will put up more of a fight than the other teams relegated, and I think maybe even just barely going down.
20th, Doncaster.
And now, just surviving the relegation zone, I have put Doncaster, and of course coming up as league champions last year from League Two, and I believe they will survive, but only by a minuscule margin, maybe even goal difference, I'm not sure, but I do believe, of course, they will survive, and as I said, I think I said this before, I've only put Port Vale as the team to go straight back down. And I do believe, again, Doncaster, they will survive.
19th, Rotherham.
So Rotherham have been a yo-yo club for a good while now, but I don't really see him getting promoted anytime soon. In fact, I see him finishing near the relegation zone this season. And I really feel like, again, similarly to Wigan, they have been on a bit of a slippery slope. I cannot speak today. And they won't get relegated, but they'll be down there this season.
18th, Northampton.
Now, I keep seeing people say Northampton will go down, but I don't think they will. I feel like they will stay up this season, and quite comfortably as well, of course, finishing above Rotherham and Doncaster. And, of course, that's just my opinion. We don't know what's going to happen. Similarly to League Two, League One and the Championship are very hard leagues to predict, and anything could happen. But I feel Northampton, they will survive this season, and, again, quite comfortably.
17th, Bradford.
Now, for Bradford, I feel like they will have that buzz from, scoring last minute to just send them up on the last day of the season against Fleetwood. And I feel like, again, that positivity will still be there. And I think that Bradford, they will push for safety, and they know it. They're a big club, and they deserve to be at this level, possibly even higher. They are a definite League One / Championship club, I believe.
16th, Wimbledon.
Now, here's another club I see people predicting to go down, but again, I think they're too big for League Two, Wimbledon, and of course we know what happened with them and MK Dons and so on. But I've always seen Wimbledon as a League One club, and they will. I believe they will stay up. And unlike what others think, they're a solid side. And again, that buzz from Wembley when they went up, I believe that will remain with them, and they will, again, even more comfortable than Bradford and Doncaster, who of course joined them.
15th, Stevenage.
Of course, youngest club in this league, I believe, formed in 1970. I do believe Stevenage, they will have a decent season for their size, and of course, I believe a few seasons ago, they were even pushing playoffs, which is incredible, but I believe they will settle for a solid 15th, and they will maybe even go on to push for playoffs next season. They're a solid club, and I believe the manager knows what they're doing.
14th, Peterborough.
And now, in my opinion, Peterborough will be the second underachievers. We'll get to the first in a minute. But I don't really see them pushing for promotion or anything. I believe, of course, they've not really done much since they got promoted to the Championship, really, I don't think. And they're a solid side, and I believe they will push for a mid-table finish this season.
13th, Exeter.
And now Exeter, again, similar to Peterborough. Well, I believe Exeter, they're a solid mid-table side in League One, and again, they will continue to do so. Not really much to say, I don't think. But we'll see what happens again this league. Very hard to predict.
12th, Lincoln.
Lincoln are a side I'm quite impressed with recently, as of course they were in the National League at one point, and of course I remember they beat Burnley in the Cup, and I believe Arsenal knocked them out, didn't they? And now they're in League One. I remember they're in a title fight with Bury like back in 2019, and they've done well in League One as well. I remember they were even pushing for playoffs. I believe they did get playoffs, but of course they didn't win them. But I believe they will continue to push, and maybe even one day we will see them in the Championship.
11th, Barnsley.
So I believe I put Barnsley this low, and I feel like they're misusing Yoganathan. Of course, that's not an excuse for why they're so low, but of course they did beat Plymouth, but they're misusing Yoganathan, I think, and they're using him as more of a DM, whereas he's more of an attacking midfielder. And yeah, but I don't really see them finishing that high. Of course, Yoganathan is a great player, but misuse him just falls apart. That's what I see.
10th, Plymouth.
And now my biggest underachievers, Plymouth. Plymouth, I believe, of course, they've just been relegated, and I just don't really see a way for them to push for promotion with all, the quality that's in that league, of course. We're now seeing more and more teams that have, of course, recently been in the Championship, and they've just been relegated to League One all of a sudden. And of course, we've seen teams like Luton, Reading, Bolton, all, of course, former Premier League teams, and now they're in League One, which is mental. And that's, of course, why I don't really see Plymouth doing that well this season, because there's just so many other teams that are just quality.
9th, Wickham.
So last season was Wickham's chance, and I feel like they'll have a massive drop off this season. Of course, finished, it's just 4th or 5th in the table, and they were even pushing promotion, but lost out to Wrexham, and I believe with them losing out, they'll have a massive downfall. And my prediction is for next season, they will be back and they will be promoted next season. So I predict for Wickham fans, you'll make your way back and even get promoted next season.
8th, Leyton Orient.
So after last season's high, I don't see Leyton Orient doing as well. I believe they will just miss out on playoffs. And of course, they've lost their keeper who scored that last minute against Oldham. I will not make a video on that, but I'm still quite salty. But anyway, yeah, I just don't see them doing that well. Similarly to what I said with Plymouth, there's just so much more quality above them, and believe they will barely just miss out on playoffs. And
7th, Huddersfield.
And now Huddersfield, I believe they will be incredibly unlucky this season. Of course, beat Leyton Orient 3-0 first game, and I don't really see them getting playoffs, unfortunately. There's, again, too much quality, and it's similar to like how I don't see Plymouth and Leyton Orient doing very well. It's just the amount of quality in this league is incredible, and just the teams that have dropped off from the Championship, they were just willing to get back. Even Huddersfield Town are included in that, but I don't really see them getting playoffs, unfortunately.
6th, Luton.
And my first team in the playoffs will be Luton. Again, I feel like they are too good for this league, but I've got a feeling they will just not. Well, they'll get in the playoffs, but they'll finish 6th and just barely scrape playoffs. And of course, I haven't mentioned this yet. I will again announce like my playoff winners for this year, but we'll see like how Luton do. Of course, they've just been relegated, and I feel like they will push to go back to the Championship.
5th, Reading.
And Reading, they have new owners, and I believe they will push for a promotion in the coming years. Just saved from liquidation, and they will be on a massive high, and they will push a promotion. I believe they will be, I wouldn't say dark horses, but they'll be a threat this season, I think, Reading, and it will show like the determination of the players, I think, with the new owner. And that's like, of course, we've got a new owner now, and we've just pushed for promotion, and it worked. So who knows?
4th, Bolton.
And now Bolton, of course, I believe they've got a really good team, and they will get playoffs, of course. Similar, I feel like it will be. I feel like the players just write themselves, really. I believe recent years, Bolton have just made that push for promotion, even making the final, only losing out to Oxford, I believe it was. But I believe they will be back, and they'll be determined to go up this season.
3rd, Stockport.
Now, I think Stockport, I feel like they've been massive overachievers, and I feel like they're making like their voices heard as a League One club, and I do not think they will go up automatically this season. Of course, they got to they made the playoffs, but of course lost out to Leyton Orient in a penalty shootout. I remember that was the same day we beat Halifax 4-0. But again, I think they will be unlucky to not go up through playoffs this season, which is unfortunate because I do quite like Stockport as a club. And for the Halifax vlog, I was actually stood next to a Stockport fan.
2nd, Blackpool.
Now, hear me out. I believe Blackpool will go up automatically. They're a solid club. They've got a brilliant fan base, and I feel they will push and they will succeed in getting an automatic promotion spot. And honestly, they deserve it. They, of course, went to the Championship back in 2021, I believe it was, and even survived the season. And I feel they are too good for this league, I think. Of course, in 2010, they were in the Prem, and they're a solid side, and I believe they will get promoted this season.
1st, Cardiff.
Well, this is a no-brainer, really. It's just written in the stars for Cardiff to win it because they were in the Prem a few years ago, and now they're in League One, which is mental. I'd say 2019 was a few years ago. It was like 6 years ago now, which is insane. But yeah, it's obvious Cardiff are too big of a club in this league. Of course, I believe they are the biggest in this league. If not, maybe Bolton. And speaking of which, I believe my playoff winners will be Bolton, and I believe they will beat Stockport in the final, in all Greater Manchester derby. An all Greater Manchester final. And before you say, I do believe Stockport is Greater Manchester and not Cheshire. But yeah, I believe Bolton, they've got that good of a side, and they will get promoted, I think. But yeah, that is my League One prediction for this season. I know this is unscripted, so it will sound like I'm just talking a bunch of waffle, and it does, but with that said, please subscribe. I appreciate the love on the previous 2 prediction videos. And with that said, I will see you in a bit. Take care.